What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And together we are last week's album, bringing you two opinions on the best new music. And in this episode, we're talking about the new album, Perpetual Motion People by Ezra Furman, and exploring the big question, does he always keep things moving or never find his footing on this album? But before we get into all that, we'll kick things off like we always do, drinking a beer. Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
Cheers, Kevin, everyone at home.
And Ezra Furman, in case you didn't know, got his start at Tufts University in Boston, forming the band Ezra Furman and the Harpoons back in 2006. They released about 4 rock albums. Then he eventually made his way to Chicago. Now he's in Oakland. He's since gone solo. He released The Year of No Returning in 2012 and Day of the Dog in 2013. So this one, Perpetual Motion People, is his 3rd album. And he continues where he left off with Day of the Dog, blending indie, doo-wop, and punk, as weird and random as that sounds. So let's continue that and talk about what it does sound like. Derek, what do you think?
Kevin, I think Perpetual Motion People sounds like Foxygen and Modest Mouse venting frustrations to therapist Dr. Dog.
I like that. I didn't identify any of those, but they all make sense now that you say them. On my end, I think it sounds like a continuously blending smoothie of Talking Heads, Ariel Pink, and Violent Femmes, if you were to put all those 3 together. And let's talk about some key tracks. Derek, which ones are you going with?
Kevin, I'm going with Lousy Connection, which is the 2nd track, and number 7, Ordinary Life.
All right. I'm also going with Lousy Connection. For my second one, though, I'm going with Body Was Made. I believe it's number 9. So why don't you kick us off with Lousy Connection, Derek?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Just kidding. This one so it has a 50s sock hop rock vibe, swing rhythm driven by saxophone, piano, tambourine, clean electric guitar, and a vocal shoo-doop, shooby-doo, shoo-doops kind of in there, so it really kind of creates this nostalgic 50s vibe. Lyrics draw a metaphor between bad cell reception and the feeling of hopelessness one can feel when they can't have an immediate noticeable impact on the world. One example, he says, try to interpret the message, but the message is scrambled. The institutions that I lean on have crumbled. I've got the world's ears. I'm all fucking mumbles. I guess I'm just another link in a chain. And the chorus literally features lyrics reflecting a conversation over a cell phone and interrupting the conversation to ask if the person on the other end can hear them, much like Kevin and I just reenacted earlier. So just a lot of really fun elements. I thought it was very interesting lyrics, and again, I dig this kind of theme we're seeing of just taking a look at interpersonal relationships in modern digital communication age.
Yeah, I liked it for a lot of the same reasons that you touched on, Derek. I love the whole sarcasm of the thing. The horns are really cheesy, intentionally so. The tongue-in-cheek doo-wops that you so definitely impersonated. The pinging piano also stuck out to me on this one. I also liked how the chorus shifted gears into this really big, frenetic, almost freak out, whereas the verses are kind of a little bit more bouncing along. I really like the line, I want the universe, God knows I've been patient, I hear your voice behind a staticky storm. I thought that sums up the postmodern Lousy Connection perfectly. The tension between expectation and reality, as you kind of touched on as well, Derek. And just overall, it creates this really interesting sound of neo doo-wop punk, for lack of better words to string together with hyphens. But yeah, and then tell us about Ordinary Life, Derek.
Yeah, this one kind of stood out to me in that it was sparser musically, but still kind of a slow builder. Opens with strummed electric guitar, kind of a soft accordion-esque type sound in the background, lead vocals, and this is later joined by a subtle drum beat, backing harmonized vocal ooze, and then later timpani drum, bass guitar, and then later on the backing vocals join in on the chorus just to add another layer. So really more of a subtle slow builder, but joined by thought-provoking lyrics. I thought this really packed a powerful punch. Just one lyric from the beginning. Let's start with your life as you know it. way back in our mother's wombs, folded like notebooks. We had no idea of all the tote bags and meat hooks waiting out in the world. It was really well developed, and I love that it just, kind of takes you to a place and then punches you in the face with the tote bags and meat hooks. Just fantastic. So, Ordinary Life ain't no ordinary song.
Yeah, that line in particular really stuck out to me as well, Derek. I'm glad you pointed that one out. For my next track, I'm going with number 9, Body Was Made. It's got sunny guitar, drippy bass, snappy drums, really upbeat saxophone, some keyboard stabs, and overall just creating this 80s-ish pop sound. Lyrics tackle gender norms, societal taboos, and personal independence. And I just personally love the approach of making something that could be so controversial if you listen to the lyrics and what this song is about, and making the song so damn catchy. I feel like that's a really, really clever songwriting decision on Ezra's part. And I think it'll make people listen to this song who might otherwise not. So yeah, check that one out as well. Now let's talk about some best lyrics. Derek, what'd you like?
I think there's a lot to choose from, but I'm going with one from Our Deepest Need, kind of a more rare, poignant lyric, if you will. I think it's time you brought your face across a railroad to my place. I can't share this whiskey with you through the phone. I just really like the dry humor nature of it, and again, yeah, kind of looking at relationships through the kaleidoscope that is modern digital communication.
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm going with one from the track Wobbly. He's really great at these clever one-liners and also these more sort of longer stream of conscious ones that you've sort of touched on, Derek. But the line in particular that I liked, he says, "Never classify me, don't try me." And I thought that sums up his music, his voice, and his personality all really, really perfectly, in this album in general, for its sort of genre-bending style. So that's what we liked as far as best lyrics. Now let's talk about overall rating and answer the big question. Derek, does he always keep things moving or never find his footing on this album? What do you think?
I'm going to start by answering the question with, there was a slip or two, but I think he kept his footing for the most part. Good points. I thought it was exceptionally strong lyrically. Things that stood out to me, he often built metaphors around seemingly outrageous comparisons. One example from Haunted Head, "I'm having too much fun. My arms around the toilet like a long-lost child." And he also used this and applied it in rhyme schemes alone. From Lousy Connection, another great lyric that we didn't even touch on, "We can't fit in, so we just head for the fringes. Your universe of blue lipstick and syringes." I never knew, Nate, pondered the idea that fringes and syringes rhymes, but here he points it out for me. The slips I kind of mentioned earlier kind of came towards the end of the album. I think it wasn't as cohesive and lyrically compact later on as it was earlier in the album. But that being said, I really enjoy it. I think he says some great things here. So for an overall rating, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5.
Right on. We will agree and disagree on some stuff. I will start with the big question as well, just to follow your lead, Derek. I think he always keeps moving. I don't think he really intends to find his footing. I think he intentionally bounces along and sort of hits one foot here, and then he's on to the next thing. That seems to be what he's going for. He's not trying to nail landings. I really think he does that well, and I think it's fully intentional throughout the album. And that makes the album really fun and exciting and unique for me personally to listen to. Overall rating on the prose side, I think it sounds like fun. He mixes rock and pop and doo-wop and ska. He nails the theme of perpetual motion, like I just kind of talked about. He's not afraid to tackle cultural controversies like gender and race and socioeconomics. And I think his vocal style straddles the line between fragile and fearless really, really well. On the con side, it might be a little too all over the place for some, but I personally dig it. And I think it's maybe a bit long. A few songs could have been done away with on the cutting room floor. So overall, I'm going to give it a 4 as well. So there you have it, a combined 8 out of 10 from Derek and myself. So you should definitely check out Perpetual Motion People by Ezra Furman. And let us know what you guys think as well. Don't forget to subscribe to us here at Last Week's Album, where we're bringing you 2 opinions on the best new music. And as always, I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And we'll see you next time, guys. Cheers.